Boom, Sean Hannity on Fox and Friends expect criminal charges against Andrew McCabe by Jim Hoft for thegatewaypundit.com. Fox News host Sean Hannity woke up early to join Fox and Friends on Monday. The top Fox host told the Fox and Friends host that he expects criminal charges against fired FBI Chief Andrew McCabe. Sean Hannity, if I had to suspect if you are going to see criminal charges against Andrew McCabe, and I would also argue that it's going to go a lot deeper. Look, we have spent almost a year looking at Trump-Russia collusion. Some people have even looked into that longer. We've seen Devin Nunes's committee said no evidence of collusion, and even Adam Schiff, admits there really wasn't evidence of collusion.
Hannity will be helming his show exactly, let's see, 12 hours and 28 minutes from right now, and he joins us right now. Sean?
Wow, you got me up early.
You're a morning guy. You're lying to us. You look great. Where do you go?
I go to sleep probably about the time that you guys wake up. What time do you wake up in the morning?
2:30 o'clock hour.
Okay, I go to sleep about that time.
Well,
so,
fantastic. Well, we're glad we could spend this time together. I know on Friday night you were talking about the breaking news during your show. Andrew McCabe was fired, not by the president, but by the Attorney General at the suggestion of their ethics department, which essentially said he was a leaker and a liar. So what do you make of all this?
Well, they also said that he was dishonest. If I had to expect, you're going to see criminal charges against Andrew McCabe, and I would also argue that it's going to go a lot deeper. Look, we have spent as a country almost a year looking into Trump-Russia collusion. Some people have now even looked into that longer. We saw that Devin Nunes's committee, the House Intel Committee, said no evidence of collusion. And even Adam Schiff admits, well, it's out there in the public arena because there really wasn't evidence of collusion. We do have, sadly, at the upper levels of the FBI and Department of Justice, serious issues, crimes that really need to be investigated. Not the least of which, you know, James Comey very arrogantly this weekend, he tweeted out, "Soon the American people will see from me, Mr. President, and they'll get to decide." But James Comey is going to have to answer a lot of questions about why he told in January of 2017 to Donald Trump at Trump Tower that the Clinton bought and paid for Russian dossier was salacious and unverified, but yet 3 months earlier, the bulk of that dossier was used in an application for a FISA warrant to spy on the Trump campaign. He's going to have to answer, you know, important questions. Okay, did Hillary break the law? We know if you mishandle, destroy classified information as it relates to the email server, these are really big crimes. 18 U.S.C. 793. Hillary not only put it on a mom-and-pop shop bathroom server in a closet, but we also know that Hillary, you know, then deleted subpoenaed emails, 33,000. Then she acid washed the hard drives, and then she used a hammer to break up the devices that these emails were on, and they're all crimes. And the question is, why didn't James Comey indict her?
Sean, here's the thing. James Comey's under the impression that he's going to be hailed a conquering hero when his book comes out in the middle of April. He is actually going to open himself up to a world of hurt, perhaps, judging by what he says, because it can't all be true. There's a lot of things that he's now got Andy McCabe against him on certain things, and when he comes out on the 17th, that's going to open up, that's going to aid a lot of investigations, I imagine, or you can just move it to the fiction area and avoid a lot of problems.
Brian, I don't think you could be any more right. He's got one other problem that he's coming up against, and that's going to be the release of the Inspector General report. And this has gone on for almost a year. We're really of the belief that the reason that the Attorney General Sessions fired McCabe, again, McCabe has very odd relationships in all of this. You got the two FBI lovebirds. You've got Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. You've got them talking about an insurance policy with Andy. Andy would be probably Andy McCabe. Andrew McCabe has political conflicts that very few people in the media talked about. $700,000 that he was getting from Terry McAuliffe and Democrats for a Senate race she was running in the state of Virginia. That's McCabe's wife. And, you know, but James Comey, to your point, Brian, is probably going to be up against an IG report that is contradicting the things that he's put in the book. You know, if I was his lawyer, I'd say you do have the right to remain silent.
Why is it that they do all of this? McCabe did all of that, and then he says he's innocent. He should get that $1 million pension. Hillary Clinton said that she should have won the election. Meanwhile, she's lying to all of us about the server and destroying her phones. And yet they're blaming Republicans for their wrongdoings. They're the ones that put themselves in this mess.
Right. Ainsley, the only way I can characterize this, it is the biggest abuse of power in the history of this country. You know, for James Comey, when you have so many crimes that Hillary committed, just think about this. If Brian, Steve, Ainsley, any of you, if you were trying to prevent congressional oversight and you broke the law and you put a server that we now know was hacked by at least 5 or 6 outside foreign entities, if you put it outside of where it's supposed to be, you mishandle it with classified top secret and special access program information. Those emails get subpoenaed. You don't have the right to delete 33,000 of them at that point, and if any of you did, you'd be arrested. If you then acid wash your hard drive with bleach bit, that's also obstruction. If you break them up, your devices, just to make sure that's a crime. Then you go through the process where James Comey, Peter Strzok and Page, friends with Andrew McCabe. Andrew McCabe's lawyer is Lisa Page. And you're writing an exoneration of May of 2016 before you actually interview the main participants. You got a problem. One last point. Then you got the whole issue of Christopher Steele. You know, all this talk about Trump-Russia collusion, the only person that colluded in that campaign with the Russians was Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton bought and paid for what turned out to be Russian lies. She had already fixed, think about this, she fixes a primary election against Bernie. Then Hillary has a criminal investigation fixed for her. She tries to use Russian lies she pays for and funnels through Perkins Coie, you know, to Fusion GPS to hire a British foreign outsider to use his Russian contacts. Then the worst part of this whole story is then that unverified, uncorroborated dossier is then brought before a FISA court with a FISA application and 3 subsequent renewal applications to spy on a campaign associate and ostensibly the Trump campaign. Nobody told that judge or any of those 4 judges how it's possible that Hillary paid for that. They never told them.
Sure.
Those are crimes.
Sean, also the story on your show on Friday about how the Lovebirds, it sounded like, were colluding to get close to Rudy, the judge.
Judge Kateris.
Kateris. Is that his name?
Yeah, Judge Kateris.
Kateris.
Rudolph Kateris.
That's exactly right. Because he was the guy who essentially meted out the justice for Michael Flynn, who, as we ultimately found out, lied, and he got in trouble, and so people are going the double standard. But what do you make of Robert Mueller and the suggestion that the president is about to fire him? You don't think that's a good idea, do you?
No, the president didn't say he was going to fire him. This is the fake news media doing what they do best. The president made a comment, and maybe if I was advising the president, I'd say, let this investigation go forward. We're probably coming to the end of it if I had to render a guess. And it would be in his best interest probably not to comment, but look at the president's comments closely, and the media took it the wrong way, and all the president was saying, this never should have been, this never should have happened. The president is 1,000% right. There never was any Trump-Russia collusion. I'm very concerned that Rod Rosenstein, after Jeff Sessions recused himself, that Rosenstein, literally, he's a guy that looks like renewed one of the FISA warrants based on the phony dossier that they never told the judge Clinton paid for. So he has every right, to, in my mind, to be frustrated, but I would argue we're getting to the end of the process, and there's not going to be any firing of Mueller. The White House issued a statement late last night.
You asked James Comey to come on Fox News. I mean, you were asking him to come on your show. You said he's going on all the left-wing media outlets, and did you ever hear back from him? I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah, I did a little bit of a tweet storm on Saturday. I think it was up to 8. The questions I was asking Jim Comey, who seems extraordinarily confident, to me it comes off as arrogance. because he's at the heart of a lot of the mistakes that were made here. You know, privileged information that he leaked to that Columbia professor for the very purpose of getting a special counsel appointed. That's a problem for him. James Comey has a problem because he exonerated Hillary before he investigated her, and then he has a problem on the dossier issue as well. And what did he know? Why in January 2017 did he tell the president, characterize the dossier as salacious and unverified, but it certainly was good enough to obtain a FISA warrant 3 months earlier?
Right.
That doesn't make sense.
And believe it or not, the president's approval rating is actually up 4 points since January, despite all this turbulence and headwinds. Can you imagine what he'd be doing if there was no Russia investigation? Sean, we're going to watch you at 9 o'clock tonight. You could tape, if you could, sure. Yeah, we will, absolutely. Unless you want to tape it now. I mean, you are wide awake. You are ready to go.
I'm half awake, and I didn't have my American Rifle Company coffee yet, which I love. It's my favorite. Have you guys ever tried that?
I'm surprised it's over the counter. I think it should be a prescription. That's how powerful it is.
Look, I think I can look at Steve because he had my corned beef and cabbage recipe. It looks like he gained 14 pounds this weekend.
Look, it's how we celebrate St. Patrick's Day at the Odusi house. All right,
go get some sleep. And write your monologue, and we'll be watching the
Sean, we'll see you every Monday morning. We'll make that,
every Monday morning? Are you committing to that, Sean?
You're breaking up. I think I'll listen to 7. I'll try. I will try. How's that?
That'll be sure.
Do you honestly expect that James Comey would actually agree to an interview with Hannity? He wouldn't be able to speak with Hannity. He'd be mumbling his way through. He wouldn't even answer Hannity, that's for sure. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.